A superstar has arrived in Manchester.
Rayan is one of the huge talents I ever seen.
You are gonna be one of those players that we will always talk about.
Technically and individually.
Well, sometimes you sit back and enjoy what players can do that you can only dream of.
Rayan Cherki has hit the ground running.
Oh, lovely again from Cherki. He's onto the ball, Cherki. He hits it into the net. Rayan Cherki.
From the moment he arrived, you could tell he was just different. He plays with swagger, with confidence, and most of all, he plays to entertain.
He's a special player. He's out of all the managers who wanna make like a chess game. You have to do this, you have to do that, and he's a free soul.
They call him the pleasure man.
I just want to play in my life. I want to take pleasure and give you pleasure.
City fans already love him because every time he touches the ball, magic happens.
I'm telling you, this kid might be the bargain of the season at 30 mil. He is so special.
I don't know if there's a player that's comfortable on both sides.
No, I don't.
Dribbling, passing, whatever it is, shooting, whatever it is, whatever the action requires.
Guardiola plays it down the middle, and there's a real chance, and Cherki puts it into the back of the net. And a game that Cherki has probably been the eye-catching performer.
This is a player who you just have to watch and laugh in disbelief. What he does on the pitch isn't normal.
Because he has incredible skills close to the box, with an incredible vision, pass, and many things.
Goals and assists in every competition. No settling in period needed. He's the type of player that makes fans lean forward in their seats. The kind who makes football feel fun.
He does this right across the pitch.
He does.
Most touches in the opposition box, most passes in the final
third counts.
This isn't coming out of nowhere either. Back in France, people talked about him as a generational player from a very young age. Born and raised in Lyon, Cherki joined the club's academy at a very young age. Even back then, coaches could tell he wasn't normal.
La première fois que je l'ai vu jouer, c'était en Youth League. Et on a vu tout de suite, sur ses prises de balles, qu'il avait quelque chose de différent. Et on a vu aussi tout de suite, malgré son jeune âge, qu'il était au-dessus du lot, très vite, très tôt.
Inside the club, he was talked about as one of the best prospects Lyon had ever produced. From the moment he arrived, they knew this kid was different, and that's because before Lyon, Cherki was already well known.
Il avait tout pour lui. Il avait tout pour lui, ce gamin-là. Bon, quand je l'ai vu, je dis, attends, d'où il sort, ce gamin-là? Bon, et c'est comme ça, mais il a tout pour lui. Moi, j'ai vu jongler, là, et je me demandais, un gamin de 6 ans, le ballon, il tombait pas par terre, pied droit, pied gauche et tout. J'ai dit, c'est pas possible, qui c'est ce gamin-là? Et c'est comme ça que je l'ai récupéré. Hein.
When Lyon signed him a year later, academy staff already knew they had a rare talent on their hands. He constantly played above his age group because matches with kids his own age were just too easy. At just 15, he was already playing for Lyon's reserve team against grown men. Physically, he had developed early, and technically, well, he was on another planet. He could dribble at full speed, use both feet without thinking, and make decisions quicker than anyone else on the pitch. What really separated Cherki was that nobody could tell which foot was a strong one. Left, right, inside, outside, it didn't matter. He could shoot, pass, cross, and even take set pieces with either foot.
C'est ce genre de joueur, c'est un joueur qui aime faire le spectacle, qui a le dribble, mais le dribble utile, qui va servir à éliminer l'adversaire. Donc c'est un joueur offensif, spectaculaire.
Lui, Rayan Cherki, comme je dis, il est unique. Hein. Il est unique comme des Bernard Farr, comme Messi, comme n'importe quel. C'est un joueur, c'est un gamin ou un joueur.
There are stories from France's youth teams where coaches would ask for a left footer to take a corner, and Cherki would simply switch sides and whip it in perfectly with his left. That's pretty impressive considering he's supposed to be a right footer. But again, you could never tell which was his strong foot. Thierry Henry, who later coached him with France's under-21s, once said that he'd never seen a player dribble as quickly with both feet as Cherki. That ability alone made him a nightmare for youth defenders. His youth career was full of wow moments. He dominated youth tournaments, shined in the UEFA Youth League, and scored 4 goals in the 2019-2020 campaign. At the under-18 level, he was already entertaining crowds with rainbow flicks and nutmegs. Inside the academy, people remember him openly saying that his goal was to win the Champions League, the World Cup, and the Ballon d'Or.
Et déjà de grandes envies.
Mon rêve, c'est de gagner la Ligue des Champions avec l'OL et de Ballon d'Or à l'OL.
Some might see that as arrogance, but it was really self-belief. By the time he was 16, Lyon had no choice but to push him into senior football. Under 17 games were just already too easy for him, so the club fast-tracked his development. Lyon were also fighting off interest from top European clubs including Chelsea, who even trained him briefly at the youth level. As a result, Lyon moved quickly, tied him down to a professional contract, and made it very clear he was their jewel. In October of 2019, at just 16 years old, Cherki made his professional debut for Lyon, becoming one of the youngest players in the club's history. A few months later, he made even more history. In January of 2020, still only 16 years old, he scored his first senior goal in the Coupe de France, becoming the youngest goal scorer Lyon had ever had. And then came the game that really put his name on the map. Against Nantes in the Coupe de France, Cherki completely took over. He scored 2 goals and assisted the other 2 in a wild 4-3 win. A 16-year-old was involved in all 4 goals of a senior knockout match. French headlines screamed, "Cherki show." Even Kylian Mbappe tweeted about it. That night, it became very clear that Cherki's talent wasn't just hype, he was just truly special. By 17, he was already playing on the biggest stage in Europe. During Lyon's incredible Champions League run in the 2019-2020 season, Cherki came off the bench in the semi-final against Bayern. At just 17 years old, he became the youngest player ever to appear in a Champions League semi-final. Think about that, that was a teenager stepping into one of the biggest matches in world football. Moments like these built Cherki's reputation as a true wonder kid. Lyon fans saw a homegrown player who could glide past defenders, pick out impossible passes, and entertain every time he touched the ball. Coaches described him as gifted, and social media clips of him spread everywhere. The expectations were massive, but the jump from teenage sensation to top-level pro is never smooth. After the hype and headlines, reality kicked in. Cherki was still a kid playing against grown men, and like most young attacking players, he had things to learn. He was fearless on the ball. He always wanted to dribble, try the risky pass, or pull off something flashy. Sometimes it worked, and the crowd went wild. Other times, it didn't, and he'd lose the ball trying something unnecessary.
C'est un joueur atypique, c'est un joueur qui a du ballon, on le sait très bien. Si tu le trouves, s'il a des mecs qui partent en profondeur, il va les trouver. Il sait jouer au ballon. Maintenant, il faut qu'il arrive à tenir le tempo de cette équipe.
Fans could be impatient. At times, he was even booed at home. But inside the club, coaches understood the bigger picture. They knew this wasn't a flaw, it was just a part of the process. Cherki had been pushed into first-team football incredibly early, and that meant growing up under pressure, in public, with everyone watching. The biggest changes he needed weren't technical. His skill was never the issue. It was his decision-making, effort with the ball, and the understanding of the team side of the game that needed to improve. Early on, he didn't love defending. I mean, who does? He saw himself as a creator, someone whose job was to make things happen in the attack. If he was scoring and assisting, he felt that should be enough. That mindset didn't always sit well with his coaches. At times, he was benched or used only as a substitute to send a message. There were seasons where he struggled for consistency, where questions about his attitude followed him unfairly. Reportedly, people labeled him as difficult, even though those inside the club insist that was never really true. He was ambitious, emotional, and extremely confident, maybe sometimes too confident, but never a bad character. There were also physical challenges. Defenders quickly learned that being aggressive was one way to stop him. That meant more work in the gym, better conditioning, and learning how to protect the ball under pressure. All of this shaped him. The highs, the mistakes, the frustration, being benched. It wasn't a smooth rise. It was actually quite messy and uncomfortable at times, but it made him tougher. By the time Cherki reached 19 and 20 years old, you could see the shift. He started making smarter choices. He pressed more. He understood when to slow the game down and when to explode. His understanding of space and timing improved. And more importantly, he learned how to balance his flair with team play. And he didn't lose what made him special. The tricks, the imagination, the joy, it was all still there. It was just sharper. And then everything finally clicked in the 2024-2025 season. That's when Cherki stopped being the talented kid and became the guy at Lyon. Despite a crazy summer where he came close to leaving and was briefly frozen out, once he returned to the team, he played the best football of his career. He finished the season with 12 goals and 20 assists in all competitions, making him statistically one of the most creative players across Europe's top 5 leagues. In Ligue 1 alone, he led the league in assists and earned a spot in the UNFP Team of the Year. He also won Ligue 1 Dribbler of the Year, which felt inevitable. No one beat defenders like Cherki. In Europe, he took it even further. He finished the Europa League with 8 assists, the most in the competition, helping Lyon reach the quarterfinals. He was named the Europa League Young Player of the Season and made the Team of the Season. One of his best moments came at Old Trafford against a garbage team in Manchester. Cherki scored, tormented the defenders, and played with pure freedom. Nutmegs, flicks, quick turns. He made a joke out of United. By the end of the season, the buzz was impossible to ignore. Lyon knew they had something special, but they also knew the truth. Cherki had always said that he would leave for the right project, somewhere where he could win and keep growing. And that project turned out to be Manchester City.
Manchester City have done it. They have signed Rayan Cherki.
It's a big sign that they've moved very quickly. They want to fill that void that they're clearly going to have with the talent of Kevin De Bruyne, but he has got the talent.
In June of 2025, the move everyone had been finally waiting for finally happened.
Rayan, welcome to Manchester City and congratulations on signing for the club. I know you were very, very keen to join us.
Rayan Cherki was a Manchester City player. City moved fast and got the deal done, beating out other big clubs that were also interested. Now the fee, it raised a few eyebrows. Around 36.5 million euros, roughly 30 million pounds plus add-ons. For a player with Cherki's talent and upside, it was a steal.
I'm telling you, this kid might be the bargain of the season at 30 mil. He is so special. Left and right, he's literally exactly the same. He's a great finisher. Technically, he is literally probably as good as anyone. And Pep mentioned before, I think his ceiling is...
I don't know if there's a player that's comfortable on both sides.
No, I don't.
Dribbling, passing.
City's new director of football, Hugo Viana, made it clear how long the club had been tracking him. He called Cherki a top talent and said the club believed he could become world-class under Pep Guardiola, which is exactly why City pushed so hard for him. For Cherki, it was a dream move. He spoke openly about how special it felt to join a club like Manchester City and take the next step in his career.
I'm very excited for play to the Manchester City. It's the biggest club in Europe. I love a style of play. It's very important for me, and it's my choice. And I think it's the best choice in my career because the Manchester City is the best.
It felt more than just a normal transfer, it felt like the start of something big. That same summer, the club headed to the United States for the expanded FIFA Club World Cup, and Cherki joined the squad. Just days after signing, he made his first appearance in a City shirt, and it didn't take him that long to make an impact. On June 22nd, 2025, Cherki scored his first goal for City in a 6-0 win over Lyon in the Club World Cup group stage. Scoring within your first week at a new club is about as good as a start as you can get. Florian Wirtz should take notes.
Everyone was annoyed about me because I took too long.
When the team returned to Manchester, there was another big moment. Jack Grealish had left on loan that summer, and City's number 10 shirt was suddenly free. Instead of giving it to a veteran, City handed it to Cherki, and that says a lot about how much they valued him.
But you know what? He's embraced it. He's taken the number 10 shirt. I don't think he's a player that lacks confidence. He's going to be different than Kevin, obviously. He's more of a dribbler. He's very two-footed.
The number 10 carries pressure. It's usually worn by the main creator, the player who makes things happen. You can feel like Cherki too. Just get your own Manchester City jersey from buygamejerseys.com and use code PedTalks at checkout. When the 2025-2026 season started, Cherki wasted no time making his mark in the Premier League. Pep eased him in at first, mainly using him off the bench. But even with limited minutes, Cherki made it very clear that he quickly belonged at the top level. He opened his league campaign away at Wolves, coming on as a sub and scoring on his Premier League debut, helping City to a comfortable 4-0 win. The fans immediately took to him, chanting his name, and Pep, he looked more than pleased.
You are gonna be one of those players that we will always talk about.
The talent from Cherki is unbelievable. The small spaces, the creativity, the final third is extraordinary, and sometimes in certain games, that of course will nick him.
From there, Cherki became a regular part of City's attack. In October, he made his Champions League debut for the club. A few weeks later, he scored his first Champions League goal for City, coming off the bench in a win over Borussia Dortmund at the Etihad. Scoring at home in the Champions League is one of those moments that just sticks in the memory of fans.
And he's getting high praise from the likes of Erling Haaland as well, which speaks volumes.
Yeah, Erling said before the game and in the press yesterday that he reminds him of playing with Kevin, so that is very high praise, and his ability to make things happen out of nothing. Spot a pass when it's probably not on for a lot of players. So
he has made an impact in all competitions. In the Carabao Cup against Swansea, Cherki ran the game, finishing with a goal and assist in a 3-1 win. He had scored in every competition City had played in: the Club World Cup, Premier League, Champions League, Carabao Cup. For a new guy adjusting to a new country and league, it was seriously impressive.
We all know his qualities, so it's about trying to get the best out of everyone. And today he had 2 amazing assists to me, so yeah, hopefully many more.
But the game that really showed all of Cherki's qualities was his performance against Sunderland. That game, he was everywhere. He was the creative engine, constantly demanding the ball and making things happen. And then of course came the moment that everyone will remember. It was one of those moments where football just feels fun.
Rayan is an exceptional player. So young, have a huge personality, proving against Fulham in the toughest moment, 5-4 or 5-4, come there. And every time had the ball, give us extra passes and continuity. It's not as scary, having self-confidence.
While Pep stressed the importance of keeping things simple, he also admitted that when you have a special talent like Cherki, you have to let him express himself.
But I like the simplicity because I learned from Messi that I never make a mistake. I never make a mistake with the simple things, never. And what I want to the players, the simple things, do it well. And after that, if you do this, listen, you play, you have a special talent, the mom and dad gave it to you, and he can do whatever you want.
Cherki himself said that he did it for the fans. He plays to entertain, to excite, to give people something to talk about.
Let's talk about that cross, the Rabona cross in for Phil Foden. And there was an audible gasp around the stadium, which you don't often hear for an assist. But did you hear all of that reaction? What did you make of it?
Yeah, I know, just for the fun, because I want to give the pleasure for all the guys, and it's my works. I want to play for Phil, for Omar, for Erling, and it's just my works.
But he's not just about highlights. That win over Sunderland pushed City right back into the title race, showing that his moments of brilliance actually matter. How about the 2 assists he got against Bournemouth? This isn't a player who's just fun to watch and easy on the eye test. He's chipped in with goals and assists across all competitions and fully earned his place in the squad. But when you do watch him play football, it really is fun. As simple as that. If you love creativity, flair, and players who are not afraid to take risks, he's your guy. He feels like a throwback to street footballers, the type of players who treat the ball like it's glued to their feet and see the pitch as a playground. So much for the narrative that Pep ruins creative players. Cherki loves doing things that most players wouldn't even try in training, let alone in a Premier League match. Flicks, tricks, cheeky passes. Nothing feels off limit to him. He even said himself that modern football can be too safe and too cautious, and he wants to bring back that old school freedom. Being an entertainer matters to him. But like I said before, he's not just entertaining, he's one of the hardest players to defend, and a big reason for that is because of how two-footed he is. Not kinda two-footed, genuinely both-footed. He loves dribbling and shooting with his left and right, and defenders can't force him one way because he's comfortable going either direction, and that unpredictability drives defenders crazy. His bag of skills is also huge. Step overs, quick turns, nutmegs, back heel. He's got it all, and it never feels random. He has a plan behind every trick, and that's the key thing with Cherki. The flair is backed up by serious footballing intelligence. He sees passes others don't. He spots runs early, finds gaps before they open, and has the technique to play the perfect ball when he does. He can break defenses in so many ways, whether it's a disguised through ball, a soft chip over the back line, a quick 1-2 around the corner. That's why City fans are enjoying him so much. He's unpredictable, he's fearless. He's the kind of player who can unlock a packed defense or change the game with one touch. And he plays with a smile, with confidence, with the belief that football should be fun. In a game that's often all about results and control, Rayan Cherki is a reminder of why people fell in love with football in the first place. To see another City player that brings the fans joy, you have to watch this video on Phil Foden.